Austin Marshall looked across his desk and said I wasn't ready. My name is Cole Benton, 38 years old, Senior Systems Integration Specialist at Riverside Manufacturing in Memphis, Tennessee. 11 years I spent becoming the only person in that plant who understood both the mechanical side and the IT side. The guy who could fix packaging line B when it jammed during software updates. The guy who made sure our ERP system talked to equipment that was older than most of our workforce. When I asked Austin about the integration supervisor position that had been posted for 6 weeks, he leaned back in his chair with this practiced executive expression. Cole, you're close, but not ready. Focus on technical excellence first. Leadership development takes time. I said, okay, stood up, walked to my locker, badged out, and went home. Didn't explain anything, didn't leave notes, didn't send emails. Just went home knowing that Monday morning would bring the scheduled ERP rollback I'd been managing for 3 months. Knowing packaging line B would jam exactly 17 minutes into the rollback without my specific adjustments. Knowing the plant would lose $95,000 per day once manufacturing stopped. My phone would show 103 missed calls before the battery died Monday afternoon. Have you ever been told you're not ready by someone who has no idea what you actually prevent from happening every single day? I started at Riverside Manufacturing in January 2014 as a packaging line technician, 27 years old, basic job, load materials, monitor equipment, clear jams, record production counts. The packaging line B was already old then, built in 1998, required constant attention, jammed frequently. Everyone hated working that line. This equipment is garbage, my trainer said during my first week. Corporate won't replace it because the numbers still work. You just got to learn its quirks. I learned the quirks. Took me about 6 months to understand that line B wasn't actually garbage. It was complex, sensitive to temperature changes, required specific material loading sequences, had timing dependencies that the newer lines didn't have. How come you can run line B without constant jams? My supervisor asked after about 8 months. Because I pay attention to what it's telling me, I explained. The equipment communicates through vibration patterns and sound changes. Most people just ignore that and force materials through. That caught the attention of plant management. In 2015, they started our ERP implementation, Enterprise Resource Planning System, supposed to integrate inventory, scheduling, quality control, and production reporting. Massive project. Consultants everywhere. IT teams working overtime. The implementation was a disaster. Why is the equipment rejecting materials that the ERP system says are approved? The IT manager asked during an emergency meeting. After 3 weeks of failed integration, nobody could answer. IT people understood software, but not manufacturing equipment. Manufacturing people understood equipment, but not software systems. I raised my hand. The ERP quality parameters don't match the physical tolerances of the packaging equipment, I explained. The system approves materials within spec, but line B specifically needs tighter tolerances because of its age and mechanical sensitivity. The IT manager stared at me. How do you know that? Because I run line B every day and I've been watching the integration failures. They pulled me into the integration team, gave me access to the ERP configuration, taught me basic system administration. That's when I realized I could be the bridge nobody else could be. Most people in manufacturing plants exist in silos. Mechanics understand mechanical systems. IT people understand software. Quality knows their testing protocols. Scheduling knows production planning. Nobody understands how all of it connects. I started taking night classes at community college. Industrial programming, database management, control systems integration. Spent 3 years learning while working full-time. By 2018, I'd become something unique. A manufacturing technician who could read code. An IT specialist who understood mechanical systems. The guy who could diagnose whether a production problem was hardware, software, or operator error. Cole fixed another impossible problem, became a regular phrase in plant meetings. The impossible problems were actually just integrated problems. Issues where mechanical and software systems conflicted. Equipment that needed firmware updates but only specific versions. Production schedules that crashed systems because nobody understood database load limits. I solved them because I understood both sides. Austin Marshall became plant director in September 2023. Came from corporate finance, had an MBA, wore expensive suits, talked about optimization and efficiency. He had no manufacturing experience, no IT background, no understanding of how industrial operations actually worked. "We need to reduce technical headcount," he announced in his first leadership meeting. "Too many specialized roles create inefficiency." I watched 3 senior mechanics take early retirement, 2 IT specialists transferred to other facilities, 1 quality engineer quit. The plant's technical expertise was bleeding out. "Austin doesn't understand that experience matters," the remaining maintenance supervisor told me. "He thinks everything is replaceable." I kept my head down, did my work, prevented problems before they became visible. That's the thing about integration work. When it's done right, nothing happens. Systems run smoothly. Equipment operates reliably. Production meets targets. Management sees nothing. They don't see the 3 a.m. alert that I responded to from home, the firmware update I scheduled during lunch break, the database optimization I ran on Saturday morning. They just see smooth operations and think it's easy. In March 2025, the integration supervisor position opened. Direct report to Austin, 15% pay increase. Small team of 2 specialists to manage. Perfect role for someone with my background. I submitted my application, updated my resume with 11 years of integrated systems experience, documented dozens of major problems I'd prevented, waited 6 weeks. Austin called me into his office on a Thursday afternoon. "Cole, I reviewed your application for the supervisor position." I sat down across from his desk. "And? You're close, but not ready. The role requires leadership skills that frankly you haven't demonstrated. Focus on technical excellence first. Leadership development takes time, maybe in another year or 2. I felt something shift inside me. 11 years. Hundreds of problems prevented. Millions in downtime avoided. Night classes, certifications, cross-training, all of it dismissed as not ready. "I see," I said calmly. "Is there specific leadership development you'd recommend?" Austin shuffled papers on his desk. "Take some management courses. Show more initiative in meetings, that sort of thing." Show more initiative. I prevented the plant from stopping every other week. How much more initiative did I need to show? "Okay," I said. "That's all." "Just okay." Stood up, walked out of his office, went to my locker, changed out of my work boots, badged out at 3:15 p.m. Drove home. My wife Sarah met me at the door. "You're home early. Everything okay?" Austin told me I'm not ready for the supervisor position. She'd watched me work nights and weekends for 11 years, seen me take emergency calls during family dinners, knew what I put into that job. "What are you going to do?" "Nothing," I said. "Absolutely nothing." She understood immediately. "Cole, you're the only one who can handle the ERP rollback on Monday." "I know. They're going to panic." "I know that too." I turned off my phone, set it in my desk drawer, spent the weekend doing yard work and watching movies. Monday morning I slept until 9 a.m., made breakfast, read the news, didn't think about Riverside Manufacturing at all. Actually, that's not true. I thought about it constantly, but I didn't do anything about it. The ERP rollback was scheduled for 6 a.m. Monday. Major system update that required rolling back to previous version, applying patches, then upgrading to new version. Complicated process. Needed careful coordination between IT and manufacturing. I'd been managing the whole project for 3 months. Testing, documentation, training, coordination schedules. Most critically, I'd figured out that packaging line B needed specific mechanical adjustments during the rollback. The older equipment couldn't handle certain database queries during system transitions. Required manual override of 3 specific processes. Nobody else knew that. I documented it in my project notes. But my project notes were written in integrated language. Manufacturing terms mixed with IT terminology. Only made sense if you understood both sides. The rollback would start fine. IT would execute their procedures. Manufacturing would follow their checklists. Then packaging line B would jam. The jam would trigger error codes in the ERP system. Those error codes would cascade into inventory modules. Inventory failures would freeze production scheduling. 3 production lines would stop. Quality systems would lose data integrity. Shipping would lose visibility into finished goods. The whole plant would grind to a halt, and everyone would realize too late that the guy who's not ready was the only one preventing catastrophe. My phone was in my desk drawer, battery slowly dying from missed calls I'd never see until Tuesday. Have you watched someone dismiss your expertise just before they need it desperately? Monday afternoon around 4 p.m., I charged my phone. 103 missed calls, 47 voicemails, 62 text messages. I scrolled through the caller list. Austin, my direct supervisor, IT manager, plant manager, operations director, HR director, security, corporate safety, on and on. The voicemails told the story. 7 a.m. Cole, this is Mike. Where are you? The rollback started, but we need you here. Call me. 8 a.m. Cole, it's Austin. You need to report to the plant immediately. We have a situation. 9:30 a.m. This is plant security. We need to verify your safety. Please respond immediately. 11 a.m. Cole, this is Janet from HR. We need to speak with you urgently regarding your absence. 1 p.m. Cole, Austin here. Look, whatever happened, we can work it out. But I need you here now. Line B is completely jammed and the ERP system is corrupted. Call me immediately. 3 p.m. Cole, this is the plant manager. We have a serious situation. Call any of us as soon as you get this. I listened to all 47 voicemails, watched the panic escalate, heard Austin's voice change from annoyed to desperate to something close to begging. Then I turned the phone back off. Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., I turned my phone on again. It immediately started ringing. Austin, I answered. Cole, Jesus Christ, where have you been? Are you okay? I'm fine, I said calmly. You need to get to the plant right now. We have a catastrophic failure. Line B is jammed. The ERP rollback corrupted our inventory database. 3 production lines are down. We've lost $285,000 in the last 3 days. That sounds serious. Silence on his end. Then carefully, Cole, I need you here. Whatever salary you want. The supervisor position is yours. I'll add a retention bonus. Just get here and fix this. What's the salary offer? Your current base plus $32,000, plus a $15,000 retention bonus, plus the supervisor title. I'd done the math over the weekend, knew what I was worth, knew what the market would pay someone with my unique combination of skills. That's generous, Austin. But I accepted a position with Precision Manufacturing yesterday. They offered me $45,000 more than my current salary. Integration manager title. Respect for what I actually do. More silence. Then, you accepted another job. When? Monday afternoon. They'd been recruiting me for 6 months. I finally called them back. Cole, you can't do this. You're under contract. You have responsibilities. I kept my voice level. Austin, I'm an at-will employee. My contract specifies 2 weeks' notice as courtesy, not requirement. You told me I wasn't ready for leadership. Turns out, other companies disagree. This is extortion. You're holding the plant hostage. I'm not holding anything hostage. I'm simply not coming to work. You told me I needed to focus on technical excellence before leadership opportunities. So I took my technical excellence somewhere that values it. Cole, please, we need you. Name your price. You already know my price, Austin. $45,000 above my current salary. That's what Precision offered. That's what I'm worth. You had 11 years to figure that out. I disconnected. The phone rang again immediately. I didn't answer. Received a text message from Plant HR. Mr. Benton, we need to discuss your employment status. Please contact us immediately. I responded, I'll be available for separation paperwork on Thursday. Turned the phone off again. Wednesday afternoon, the plant manager called my house line. Sarah answered. He's not available, she told them. He'll contact you Thursday for separation processing. Mrs. Benton, we need to speak with him urgently. The plant is still down. We're losing nearly $100,000 per day. That sounds like a management problem, Sarah said. Then she hung up. She looked at me. Feel good? Not really, I admitted. Feel necessary, though. Good. They should have felt that 11 years ago. Thursday morning, I drove to Riverside Manufacturing, badged in for the first time since Thursday afternoon. The plant was chaos, equipment sitting idle, workers standing around, managers rushing between offices, external consultants everywhere with laptops and confused expressions. I walked to HR. Janet sat waiting with separation paperwork. Cole, before we process this, Austin wants to speak with you. Tell Austin I'm processing separation paperwork. That's all I'm here for. He's authorized a final offer, $50,000 above your current salary, supervisor position, $25,000 retention bonus. Tell Austin I signed my offer letter with precision yesterday. $55,000 above my current salary. Integration manager, company car, stock options, 2 weeks vacation immediately. Janet stared at me. You're really leaving? I'm really leaving. Cole, what you're doing to this plant? What I'm doing? I interrupted. Janet, I prevented disasters here for 11 years. Made sure equipment and IT systems worked together. Took night classes to learn both sides. Responded to emergencies at 3 a.m. Worked weekends. Sacrificed time with my family. When I asked for recognition through the supervisor position, Austin told me I wasn't ready. Told me to focus on technical excellence. So I took my technical excellence somewhere that recognizes what it's worth. That's not me doing anything to this plant. That's Austin discovering what I was doing for this plant. She didn't have a response. I signed the separation paperwork, turned in my badge, walked out. Austin caught me in the parking lot. Cole, wait, just give me 1 week. Help us through this crisis. I'll match Precision's offer exactly. I stopped, turned around. Austin, 3 days ago you watched this plant stop functioning without me. Watched 300 employees stand idle. Watched corporate demand explanations for $285,000 in losses. And only then did you realize what I actually do here. That's not respect. That's panic. I don't work for panic. I work for places that understand my value before I walk out the door. I made a mistake, he admitted. You didn't understand that preventing problems is harder than fixing them, I interrupted. You didn't understand that integrated expertise is rare. You didn't understand that 11 years of smooth operations meant someone was working hard to make them smooth. You saw me as just a tech who wasn't ready for leadership. I saw me as the only reason your plant functioned at all. Turns out we were both right. I wasn't ready for leadership at a place that doesn't value what I do, but I'm perfectly ready for leadership at a place that does. I got in my car and drove away. Left Austin standing in the parking lot watching me leave. The plant stayed down for another week. They finally brought in specialized consultants from the ERP vendor. Cost $60,000. Those consultants needed 3 days just to understand the integrated problems. Whoever designed your integration protocols was brilliant, the lead consultant told plant management. This is sophisticated work. Manufacturing and IT coordinated in ways we rarely see, but they're also customized beyond anything we can support. You need whoever built this to maintain it. He quit, Austin explained. Then you're going to have ongoing problems. This level of integration requires institutional knowledge. They managed to get Line B running again. Sort of. Jams increased by 40%. Quality issues appeared. Production efficiency dropped. The plant never recovered fully. Austin got written up by corporate, received formal reprimand for catastrophic failure in employee retention and operational risk management. He lasted 6 more months before taking a position elsewhere. His LinkedIn profile described him as having extensive manufacturing leadership experience. I started at Precision Manufacturing 3 weeks after leaving Riverside, integration manager position. Small team of 4 specialists reporting to me. Much larger plant, more complex operations, better equipment. Most importantly, management who understood what integration actually meant. We recruited you specifically because you understand both manufacturing and IT, the plant director told me during onboarding. That combination is incredibly rare. Most people specialize. You generalized. That makes you valuable. Riverside didn't see it that way. Riverside's loss is our gain. We've been watching you for 2 years, knew you were the bridge holding that plant together. Figured eventually they'd be stupid enough to lose you. They told me I wasn't ready. For what? You'd been doing integration work for almost a decade. Probably knew more than most people with the supervisor title. Sometimes management confuses seniority with capability. The work at Precision was challenging in good ways. Bigger systems, more integration points, equipment that actually got maintained and updated. My team respected me because I could work on both sides, could troubleshoot a mechanical jam, and then fix the software that caused it. Could optimize a database and explain why it affected production scheduling. Within 6 months, we reduced unplanned downtime by 37%. Cole's integration protocols are saving us approximately $200,000 per month, my director reported to corporate. Within a year, I was promoted to senior integration manager. Compensation increased another $20,000. expanded team to 8 specialists. The work was fulfilling because leadership understood what I prevented. They saw the value in smooth operations, recognized that problems avoided were just as important as problems solved. Meanwhile, I heard through professional networks that Riverside was struggling, equipment reliability declining, IT systems having frequent issues, production targets missed regularly. They never replaced Cole's expertise, a former colleague told me during a chance meeting. Tried to hire contractors, but nobody understands both sides like he did. Management still thinks integration is just an IT function. They don't get that it's operational knowledge. I didn't feel vindicated, just sad that they'd had something valuable and destroyed it through ignorance. Austin reached out through LinkedIn about 18 months later. Cole, I wanted to apologize for how I handled things. You were right. I didn't understand what you prevented, didn't recognize your value until it was too late. I made a serious management error. Just wanted you to know I learned from that mistake. I appreciated the apology. Took him 2 years to understand what should have been obvious. I responded professionally. Appreciate you reaching out, Austin. No hard feelings. Sometimes people need to see absence to understand presence. Good luck in your new position. Didn't hear from him again. 3 years after leaving Riverside, I was speaking at a manufacturing conference about integrated systems management. The biggest mistake I see in modern plants is treating manufacturing and IT as separate domains, I told the audience. Equipment is increasingly digital. Software controls physical processes. You need people who understand both sides, not as separate specialists but as integrated expertise. Afterwards, several plant managers approached me. We have exactly the problem you described, one admitted. Mechanics who don't understand software, IT people who don't understand equipment. How do we fix that? Cross-train, I explained. Find people with aptitude for both. Send mechanics to programming classes. Send IT people to the shop floor. Build bridges instead of silos. Most importantly, recognize that integration expertise is valuable. Don't treat it as almost ready for leadership. Integration is leadership in modern manufacturing. What if we already have integration people? Value them. Compensate them fairly. Give them authority. Don't wait until they quit to realize they were holding your operation together. Several managers were taking notes. That conference led to consulting opportunities. Plants wanting to assess their integration capabilities. Companies building integration teams. The side work generated additional income of about $70,000 per year, all because Austin told me I wasn't ready. His dismissiveness pushed me out the door, forced me to recognize my own value, created opportunities I'd never have found staying at Riverside. I thought about that irony frequently. If Austin had given me the supervisor position, I'd still be at Riverside, making less money, smaller scope, limited growth. Instead, his failure to recognize my value launched me into better opportunities. The plant director at Precision understood this dynamic. Best thing that happened to you was being undervalued, he told me during my 3-year review. Made you realize you had options. Made you assertive about your worth. Riverside's incompetence was Precision's opportunity. Does that mean you're worried I'll leave if someone undervalues me here? He laughed. No, because we built a retention strategy around understanding what you prevent. We measure integration success by what doesn't happen. Failed equipment upgrades that don't occur. System rollbacks that execute perfectly. Production schedules that meet targets consistently. That's all your work. We know it. We recognize it. We compensate it. That recognition mattered more than money, though the money was pretty good too. 5 years after leaving Riverside, I ran into Austin at an industry conference. He'd aged noticeably, looked stressed, forced a smile when he saw me. Cole, great to see you. Heard you're doing well at Precision. Can't complain. You? Managing a smaller plant in Kentucky. Automotive supplier. Different challenges. We made small talk for a few minutes, both being professionally courteous. Finally, he said what he'd been wanting to say. Cole, I learned a lot from what happened at Riverside. Really changed how I think about technical expertise. I make sure now that people feel valued before they start looking elsewhere. That's good, Austin. Valuable lesson. Expensive lesson, he admitted. Cost me my career advancement. Corporate flagged me as high risk after the Riverside situation. Damaged my reputation. I'm sorry that happened. Don't be, I earned it. Told a critical employee he wasn't ready when I was the one who wasn't ready. Wasn't ready to understand what he did. wasn't ready to recognize specialized expertise, wasn't ready to be the leader that plant needed. He extended his hand. No hard feelings on your end? I shook it. No hard feelings. You made a mistake. I benefited from it. Sometimes that's how things work. We parted ways. I never saw him again. Walking back to my hotel that night, I reflected on how things had turned out. Austin's dismissiveness had hurt at the time. Being told you're not ready after 11 years of dedication stings, but his failure to recognize my value forced me to recognize it myself, forced me to leave comfort for opportunity, forced me to assert my worth, forced me to find places that understood what I brought. All of that led to better positions, better compensation, better opportunities. The plant failures that followed my departure weren't revenge. They were natural consequences of undervaluing specialized expertise. Sometimes the best way to prove your value is to take it somewhere else and let absence demonstrate what presence prevented. That's not cruelty. That's market dynamics. That's what happens when management confuses luck with skill. For 11 years, Riverside was lucky to have integrated expertise preventing constant failures. They thought they were skilled at running smooth operations. Then the expertise left, and they discovered luck runs out. Standing in my office at Precision 7 years after leaving Riverside, I felt grateful for Austin's mistake. Grateful he told me I wasn't ready. Grateful he forced me to prove him wrong elsewhere. Grateful his short-sightedness became my opportunity. Professional relationships built on recognition and respect prove more valuable than positions built on being undervalued and dismissed. The operations I managed at Precision generated better outcomes, better compensation, and better professional satisfaction than anything Riverside could have provided. Austin's laughter at my supervisor request ultimately strengthened my career while damaging his. The experience taught me that sometimes being told you're not ready means you're ready to leave, ready to recognize your value, ready to stop accepting less than your worth. Managers who dismiss expertise as not ready, without understanding what that expertise prevents, discover that some skills become visible only through their absence. And sometimes the best response to focus on technical excellence is taking that excellence somewhere that already appreciates it. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button for Revenge Tales with Luke. Share your experiences with being undervalued at work in the comments below. Your story might help someone else recognize their worth before it's too late. See you in our next story.